Welcome back to Morning Express. We're glad you're watching. The newsroom continues with Mwaura. We also have Mutua and Muganda with us this morning. And gentlemen, the president has record trips out of the country. The Star today leading with that story. Uhuru records trips first year in office, 28, 16 countries on official government business, and beating his predecessors on the same.
When is he visiting Kenya?
Can I just first end this is a brilliant piece of journalism, you know. Can we just say that? I mean, it gives context. It's someone that, you know, they took time and, you know, calculated, and it brings a new information of some sort.
Yes, I mean, this it's done by Oliver Madenge, I think so.
Yes, by Oliver. Yes.
By Oliver. He decided to think out of the box. We rarely do such kind of stuff, but I wish if we could, it could have been probably. I tend to like details, and if probably it could have told us like how many kilometers has he covered, how much the deals of what he has brought in. I mean, what else, like of what value to the economy and all this, and then just oppose it against all these things. But I think as it is, I think he thought out of the box. I think
it's a good conversation.
It's a very good story.
28 trips compared to
28 trips in 1 year.
The first year.
So actually, probably Kenya, maybe he makes a stop over.
Kibaki, you never made a trip.
Did you expect how it's like comparing day and night? How would you compare Uhuru, who is so energetic, agile, young, and Kibaki, who at the time?
Did you just call Mr. Kenyatta socialite? Oh, you did not, eh? Okay, okay, fine.
And the President Kibaki at that time, bearing with his age and with his health status, honestly, it's like comparing day and night. So we can't make that comparison.
But I think
we are only taking statistics.
Yeah, this is a very good story. This is, as it is, it's a good story actually to tell us like this is what the gentleman has done so far and all that. And from a journalistic point of view, we forget about comparing how many trips because Mr. Kibaki used to go to Tanzania a lot.
Yeah. That's what I'm asking you. Yeah. Compared to what? You must. I want to understand.
Let's bring this to into when President Obama was making a trip to Africa. The last trip that he made, you know, that he visited South Africa, and you know, he puts like clumps like 5 countries together. And the Americans had a serious discussion about the budget and who he takes to that trip, because they say it doesn't make sense for a president to cross transatlantic, you know, and carry 5 planes with him, and is going to a continent to do what? To give what? It's a conversation that opens up to what are we getting out of all these things? Because that is what we should be going to. But fine, you can make even 10 trips, you have no problem.
But what is the country getting out of it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Now there we can have a conversation.
That is what
not in comparison to somebody else.
That's why I was saying like the story should have been broken down and you've been told like this deal in China, this is what the other time he drove to Tanzania, he used 120 vehicles. This is what we got from.
So this is pretty much just reporting where he went and the dates he went there.
Yes, actually, I think to begin with, I believe it's a very good story. Number one. Number two, as Mutua says, maybe Oliver would have gone on to tell us whom he was comparing Uhuru to, because I believe Moi in his first year traveled a lot, even I think it's more than 28, because I saw somewhere about 100 days. He made a record trips abroad. Absolutely. And then maybe just to add is because we find the way these guys were elected, there are a lot of issues and international issues and stuff like that. So that's why maybe the trips are many.
Okay, key questions, of course.
And there, actually, this to me is on the minimum. If the ICC thing was not hanging over their head, they would have even had 50. Believe you me. Because there are areas they cannot go.
They would have visited Europe.
Yeah,
you know, like
they would have globetrotted all over Europe and everywhere else, but there are limitations.
But they've been to Europe, I think.
They not on state visits.
No, state visit, yeah. no, I mean, like I think Mr. Kenyatta has been to Europe twice, but it was not state visit. The time when the London Marathon,
and he's also in London again.
To cheer his wife.
And the Somalia conference.
And the Somalia conference, yeah, I think that it's been twice. Yeah.
All right, finally, the IG. There's a new directive in town. You have PSV with tinted windows, all motor vehicles with any reflective properties on its windscreen and windows to be impounded with immediate effect. Any of you tinted? Sharing in the...
No, what happens is that this thing, initially there was I think the message that was sent out initially, and the people would think with their fingers, and other gentlemen also, I mean our professional colleagues, went to town with the story that this thing, the ban is on all vehicles.
All vehicles.
Yeah, but later I think there was a clarification, which was grammatically, the statement was
But the IG himself,
he clarified and said that it's only public service, passenger service vehicles.
He said all vehicles.
No, passenger service vehicles.
We have the
No, we
clip.
have the
of
clip.
the
Yeah, then later, actually, then you need
At night?
the statement
At
that
what
was
point?
sent out, which actually had the line double twin, the double twin blast.
Yeah, okay, we can discuss that also. It's not about move. They have done that. They came with that before, and then you remember after some time, then they've got lax because what politicians began tinting their windows. So how do you set parameters in terms of who can have a tinted glass and who does not? If you are removing tinted windows, do it across the board and don't discriminate, including the president, including the IG himself, including because before,
cabinet secretaries.
During campaigns, believe you me, all vehicles that have politicians, they never have tinted windows.
So
Wait
that's
until you elect them.
But what about
The moment they get into power,
Enter-
they all don't want to see you.
what about vehicles that actually they darken like our glasses with the intensity of light? You don't have to put the film. What about those vehicles?
That is where the clarification needs to come from. But I think the IG has a noble move in terms of trying to address this issue of insecurity and in the fight against terrorism. You have started with the public service vehicles, and I also don't believe that even private vehicles should have these dark tinted windows.
Why not?
No,
I
it depends. It depends on.
There are certain instances whereby they've said probably the guys who have been. They have become a security risk in terms of the people they are ferrying to various places. I wouldn't have a problem with not having a car with.
Your car does not have tinted windows.
Mine has very very light.
Yeah.
It came with the make.
Yeah, it came with the car. Yeah. So actually, the thing is also.
Why do people like to hide? Why are you hiding? What are you?
No,
hiding?
personally, I've never
I support Instagram.
I have never tinted my car windows, but I think also it depends on the vehicle, you know. Some
But
of
is
us,
it a
some of
proven
us
way
have
of
vehicles that actually
fighting
you don't.
terror? Because if it's coming into play in that, is it one that are we borrowing from some place where it has worked?
I don't think.
Is it the real problem in terror?
And I don't think so. That's why also we need to break it down. We need to break it down as a media and actually tell people, like, let's give all these examples, because how many events like terrorist acts or terrorism acts that actually we can probably draw and say, like, okay, fine, that one was because of this, that one.
We couldn't see.
Because this is what we are lacking, research.
And
I think what is happening now.
Listen, but for security purposes also, just before you make your point, for a security officer who's standing on the roads, and your brief is to look and see anything and everything that comes on your way. If you tint your car, I don't know if Sophia and plus us are in that vehicle. I need to say there was KBM number so and so, it had one passenger which passed it, but now I can't. So for security purposes, yes. But then again, I agree with you. We need to set parameters on what level of tints are we talking about. We're talking something that you can see from the outside and help you see, or something that we are completely blocking, you cannot see nothing, and it's like
personally I hate those dark tints. Personally, I don't like them. I've never owned a vehicle. I've never done that to any of my vehicles. Any car that I've owned, I don't like them. But I think the law stipulates that for private vehicles, it's supposed not to be reflective. You're not supposed to have reflective material that actually can distract other drivers, you see. But for public service vehicles, I have no idea completely, because I remember writing this story when they started it 13 years ago in 2001 about this, when actually I think we wrote the story that the cops were taking the law into their own hands. And so many people who leave off doing that, they were actually complaining that now they don't have any means of livelihood. You see, the parameters have to be set, and they have to tell us, like, okay, fine, this one is allowed. Maybe if you're for cabinet secretaries, they're allowed to have them. Because if they just say like it's a blanket thing, then you're going to complain that, okay, fine, why are you fining me and the other person has it, you know?
Because somebody would also argue it's for their security. I come to work very early. I drive myself, so I don't want somebody
What
from
happened to your
afar can just
driver?
tell, go away. There's a woman alone in that car. I mean, I do it for that purpose, you know. And many would argue they do it for their own different reasons. So I think if
You make a good case. You make a powerful good case. Can you tweet IG Kimayo?
But do you agree with public service vehicles?
I don't see how it works, because I have then, and people were talking about even those who have been carjacking instances in matatus, they were not tinted. Once, I remember when I was in campus, we were jacked in a matatu past a police, what do they call? Roadblock. The matatu was all clear. So for me, the argument that, yeah, it will help them see, doesn't fly.
But also some passenger service vehicles, like the ones traveling to Mombasa, they're air conditioned, and actually all the windows are closed and whatever. And then they put that also to prevent more light coming in, you know, to keep the vehicle
the sun
cool.
is harsh.
So I don't know how all this is going to be carried out. But what I'm getting is that the security services now, they're kind of groping in the dark. They actually don't know, like, okay, fine, what we do to fight terrorism. Everything now that is thrown their way, like, okay, fine, let's try this, let's try that. I think that's what is happening. That's
Well,
what
I think it's
I think just to comment on that issue of tinted, number one, to begin with, I think, I know I'll not be popular in this, but everyone is saying it's against, they're against removing the tint. But what I believe is, sometimes in some cases, I believe some crime can be prevented if those windows are not tinted. But I'm not saying that it is a good thing generally, because she raised a very serious point. Number two, I think what we should be thanking ourselves, Kimayo as Kenyans, he's actually helping us see our politicians. As he said, all of them put on their tints. Now we'll be able to see them. So I think
it's not like if in whatever a car that's not tinted, they walk with their guns up like this so you can see them from afar. No, really. If you think about it, Martin, you know, like the bombs are now in the clear, they're hanging.
but maybe just the issue of they feel exposed. They might feel exposed because
In fact, anyway, let me not sound like I'm a terrorist.
This is very personal.
It's very personal. Yeah.
Can you take it up with Instagram, Kimayo?
But I think
it's
also,
a conversation we need to have. I mean, let's not all the time also whatever is brought up for suggestion, we just shoot it down. It's something that we can have a debate about and agree. I mean, if Kimayo and his team have reasonable grounds to believe that if we can do away with the tints, is going to help in the war against crime.
Switch.
And where they've flipped is how they've communicated, Martin.
Absolutely.
I believe. You know,
No,
communicate to us,
because
tell us
you
this is what is
you
getting
don't
us
say
to this
with
point.
immediate effect.
Yeah, and don't say with immediate effect. Are they going to fly off the cars
and then,
immediately they've
and
said
you're
it?
probably
You know.
on your way to
Yeah.
leafy suburbs.
Communication just sucks on that.
You see, the other thing that Sophia had talked about is, like, I'm sure someone is going to go to court today, you know, to get a stay on that issue. So
Absolutely.
Of course, someone will go to court. So again, since someone is going to go to court, let's say immediately, because saying, oh, I give you 3 days, then you go to court, court says 3 months, 3 years. No, let's say immediately, so that if the courts vote for you, then the tints are gone.
But I think we need to go back. We need to go back to all the laws and all that before the lawyers come and break it down for us. And I think as a media also we need to let people know, like, okay, fine, this is what the law says. This is what the law says. Because like yesterday there was a blanket thing, like, okay, fine, all the thing has been banned. And I think this is a minor thing that actually it should be able, generally should be able to break it down as soon as possible with immediate effect.
Thank you, Clay, for that. Immediate effect.
With immediate effect, so that people get to understand.
It's
because
true.
yesterday the
I
people
agree.
actually started removing the phones from the
tints.
cars, the phones from their vehicles.
But Kimayo should know that these tints don't help, you know.
Yeah, but
the clearest vehicle had tint and look at what happened.
but also there's some other, there's some which are actually overdone. There's some which are overdone. People overdo. You see, Sophia does it because of Sophia does it for security purposes. There are people who do it to pimp up as a pimp. To pimp up the ride or something like that's what they call it.
Yeah,
pimp up the ride. Yeah, but you see, there's some vehicles actually that don't need pimping. You know, it's a complete vehicle the way it is. You know,
And some anyway are tinted from the factory.
it's the glass. It doesn't have a film.
Yeah.
It's the
So what
glass,
do they do? Sell their cars anyway, James?
No, buy new windows. I mean, they also will be creating
No, James doesn't have tint, so he was having a
I've never had tint.
ball with
I've
this.
never gotten this idea of tinting your car.
Yeah, because you drive a complete vehicle, a complete car.
Thank you.
Oh, is it a machine?
Like I've said, these tints don't help at all. Evans Kidero has many.
So you don't think they help?
And see
Even
what
my
happened to
point.
him.
No,
You raise a valid point. You raise your point is valid.
I think it needs to be broken down legally, and we need to tell people need to know like which law, which regulation, and all that is being followed and all
This
that.
Dennis,
country
it
is
will be
too
tweeted
litigious.
Yes.
So that everything that is
It
proposed,
needs to be broken down.
you have to go to court
No, it
and
needs to
get
be-
an
No,
interpretation.
this one I don't think it needs any interpretation because it's quite clear. It's just they said about reflective material, but that's on windows that is not going to distract other drivers. That is what they say on passenger service
Gentlemen.
vehicles, you know. So I think this is what needs to be broken down, and people need to know so that people
I
don't
need
go
to break
around.
down something.
People
here.
don't need to go
I need to
down
break down
doing
something.
their things, yeah.
This is the end of the show. I've broken down with immediate effect. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you all.
Mwaura,
Martin.
Martin Mutua, and Clay Muganda. Please, Clay, tell the people you're holding brief for that.
I'm not holding brief for anybody. I'm not holding brief for anybody.
Thank you. Hope to see you again next week. That has been the newsroom for you, and of course James standing by now with the news update. And when we come back in the next few moments, we'll have a great conversation about finding the one. And I suspect Clay would want to listen to that conversation. You can just sit in the studio because we need to find you the one.
Oh my goodness, you're going through this again.
All right. The Nigerian government says it is now ready to hold talks with Islamist militants